Dummy Switch Pod. Your auntie and uncle's favorite rugby podcast, man. The world's most dangerous rugby podcast. And we're joined. Not only are we back, but we're joined by a special guest. You know, we only have the most illustrious guest. Our last guest was a Bok. So we're following it up with Sandile. You might have seen him, you know, at your local pitch side holding a flag or with a whistle, or you might have seen him on TV. Sandile, please can you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, how's it? Sandile Jamini here, ex-referee with the Lions. I was part of SA Rugby for a couple of years as well. And I've done my bit in the rugby business. I am currently part of Krugersdorp High School, where I coordinate and coach rugby.
Tell us how long you've been involved in rugby and what sparked your interest. How did you get into rugby, you know?
Basics. I think it was in 1999. I joined rugby in 1999. I was doing grade 4. I tried soccer. I went to a soccer practices a couple of times. Come game time, I wasn't that great. So
the touch was too heavy.
Listen, I had to sit bench for some guy who didn't come to practice. So after that, I was, soccer maybe it's not for me. I went past a higher school next door to our primary school. And I got there, went to rugby practice, and I trained on a Thursday. And on a Saturday, I played the whole game. So I was like, okay, this is me. This is where I'm staying. Okay. And the previous Monday, we were taken to Ellis Park, where we received some food. And, you know, from the townships, sometimes you don't get that. So I went to Ellis Park for the first time, first big stadium, never been there. What's going on? It was still Super 12, I think. Received a rugby shirt, Vodacom shirt, and we're like, okay, this is me, this is where I'm staying. Even though the shirt was 7 times my size, but you know what, it was something. Firstly, I played the previous weekend, now I've got food, free trip to Ellis Park, and then you got to see all these big giants, like what's going on here, who are all these people? So yeah, that enticed me, that made me stay in the game up until now.
They knew how to hook you there. Tell us about your experience, you know, as a young ref with the Lions and within the SA Rugby setup.
Jeez, I started refereeing in 2012, mainly because I got injured as a rugby player. I had a lot of injuries. I had a serious concussion in 2009 when I was in school. Serious injury. I had a cracked skull, so I decided I can't play anymore. I tried continuing with Raiders. I played for Raiders for a couple of years, Vets and Raiders, and then okay, this is maybe the route that I need to take. I went into refereeing because I was coaching at I think Athlone Boys at the time. Went into refereeing, got the fitness test. I was one of the fittest rugby players as well. So fitness test, small things, you know, and you think you know the game when you play, when the referees penalize you, and you're like, okay. Last game was Rodiport under 21s against Raiders, and the mighty Rasta Shivenga was refereeing it, and he had came back from the sevens. So we played, and I was chapping and talking too much, you know. He said to me, listen, come to refereeing. I think you'll enjoy the game a bit more there, and you'll make a bit of cash as well. So I'm like, okay. At the time, I think at Raiders we got paid 80 rand. Okay, compensated 80 rand. Because if you talk about payments, you're gonna make a lot of people angry. So 80 rand a game, and the mighty Rex said, come through, and I tested it. I went there, and everything was nice and fun. And then first year, which was 2012, I refed one game at GP Boys. I think it was GP Boys against Kes, E-teams, hectic E-teams. I had one half, and I had the better half. So We went to the NDA function. I was rewarded candidate of the year because, you pretend as if you know the game. You talk too much and you tell people what to do, where to be. And they said, no, you are one of the candidates, up and coming youngsters, appointed to some festivals where you run touch the whole day. I had to run touch for about 8 games, I think, in a row.
Jeez.
And I enjoyed it. It was fun. Keep on running, keep on working on the game. And 2013, appointed at the coach series, which was still at Rugby Fields. And I was seen by one of the SA Rugby scouts. And I think the same year I was invited to a couple of festivals. You know what, we're traveling for free. Why not? So I went to my first, I think, national champs in 2013, December in Pretoria. Got a SA Rugby kit and like, okay, maybe this is the place to be. I stayed, enjoyed it, had my fair share of the game, had some big games, some small games, big tournaments and all that. So yeah, that's me. It's been tough though. You go into a tournament where you're the only black guy. And you're the only black guy. If you're not the only black guy, you're the only black guy that doesn't understand Afrikaans. So when you go to these festivals, it's proper Afrikaans festivals. So you're just looking at everyone, looking for someone to translate for you. Luckily, the guys I was with were very kind and were kind enough to translate sometimes. But when the conversations are fast and you just, okay, when everyone laughs, you laugh as well. Okay, whatever, it's fine. But yeah, I think the language barrier was a bit of a problem. But yeah, it was fun. It was great. I enjoyed it.
Amazing. And I think what a story, just from, how rugby captured you, because you were captured. That's what happened. You were captured, and how you've worked through. And I mean, we also came to know you from, as a ref, I think also being involved in Jabulani, Soweto Rugby as well. You mentioned Raiders.
Yeah, my home. Jabulani is my home.
Is your home, and I think just your reputation precedes you, in terms of just the standard of refereeing, the level. Because on this show, we always bagging referees, so you're a very courageous man coming on, but I think, just moving on from there, I know you mentioned that you're currently busy with coordinating the rugby at Krugersdorp High School, and I think one of the things that really, for me, why I also wanted to get you out there and let the people know exactly what's happening, as much as the focus is on, the big rugby and the boys, there's a lot that's going on behind the scenes. And, you being one of the pioneers within the girls rugby, particularly on this side of town, tell us more about that, about your work within the girls rugby. And I will say this, producing provincial players, because, that's what you've been doing, with your team, but you've been one of the pioneers. So, if you could tell us
I saw UJ was sniffing around the school there the other time. During my day, they never came near us.
Gents, I mean, girls rugby was a risk. Big risk. I think we still had Mr. Holmes as our sports director, and he had said, "Oh, guys, why not? Let's try. Let's see what happens." And yeah, we went in. We took some beating, proper hiding.
Yeah.
First game, I think we played Bracken, and after the game, I think we had a lot of girls that played. After the game, I think 90% of them were crying.
Oh, wow.
And heart attacks, asthma attacks, all of these things. What's going on? We don't know what's going on. So we stuck it out. I think we've been involved in the game now for 6 years, if I'm not lying. And from that 6 years, I think we've got about 23, if not 24, provincial players. And we've got a provincial coach as well, Mandla Dube.
Yeah.
And we've been hustling.
Yeah.
If that's the right way.
Yeah.
We've been hustling hard. We've been pushing. the girls saw growth in the game, and some of them got scholarships from UJ. We just mentioned UJ right now. Some of them are UJ professional, semi-professional players. So we've developed a relationship with the universities as well, just to make sure that these girls get opportunities as much as they can. But yeah, girls rugby was a huge, huge risk. We stayed with it, we stuck it out, and look at us now. 5 years down the line, I think we've got 2 teams, 2 senior teams. We've got 1 under 16, 1 under 14 team, and before COVID hit us, our girls rugby team got team of the year in the men's mainly dominated place. The girls got team of the year, and I think we're heading that route right now as well. Again, we've got 2 teams. Both teams have not lost a game. 2 senior teams have not lost a game, and they're doing well. Success
right there. And I think talking about that success factor, and you sort of mentioned that there's a sort of a structure and a relationship with the university, and I think it's just a question that comes up now, and the differences that you've seen between, the boys' side of things and the girls' side of things, and leading into the next question in terms of looking at the Lions as a whole, for us being in Gauteng, looking at the Lions as a whole, as a union, and SA Rugby, in terms of where the gaps are, and how we can actually be better, how they can get better.
I think
you're asking why are the Lions broken? Why are they broken?
I'm going around. I don't want to say they're broken.
I won't use that phrase, but I can say I think everything boils down to fairness. Over the years as a rugby player, I've seen how the unions specifically have surrounded and channeled their provincial players around schools. I think if that changes, if that mindset changes, then the unions, not just one, there's a lot of them, the unions will change, and the unions will develop. Our rugby in SA will develop, they will get better. If there's a boy in the townships is good, is doing great, then that boy must be rewarded. It doesn't matter where he comes from. We shouldn't look at the big schools, micro schools, where there's 7 teams or 14 teams playing rugby, and then we say our teams are coming from there. I'm going to shift it a bit. One union had a school which was great, and that school, 18 of their players were in the provincial side. I think 2 years back, Craven Week. How do you have 18 players in the provincial side from one school? Are you telling me that your number 18, your number 16 and 17 are the best players over all the other schools in the province? That's rubbish. I think, back to your question, how are the Lions, or how can the Lions develop? How can the Lions get better? Maybe they need to change people that are up there. If you change people that are up there, then maybe there's going to be a lot of things that happen for the grassroots, because it's the same faces that has been there, the same faces that have dulled Afrikaans, the rugby into Afrikaans sectors, that the same people have said that, well, they haven't said it, they've proven it, that rugby is for the whites. It's not the case. If we can get Makazole Mapimpi, who comes from the rural areas, like the lowest of them all, then playing Springboks, then surely in Soweto as well, you can go back and get your John Kupeka. You can go back and get your Malungisa Nkosi Giant, who played Springboks and was contracted with the Sharks.
He was at Parktown.
He started Jabulani Tech. He got a scholarship to Saints, and I think he moved into Mondio, and then he came back to Jabulani Technical School. So there's something happening. We've got a lot of people that come from the township schools. The coach is Donald Ngwenya, who's currently the Sharks under 21 coach. Comes from the townships. So what are we saying? I'm saying right now that we need to change the people that are there, the faces. When Desile Similani is from Soweto, He's currently one of the best outside centers after Lucanio, I think. So we need to look into rugby as a diverse place instead of rugby as an African sport. It's not. Look at the girls. They're doing well. So maybe we need to look into those things. And then because the townships don't have funds, then the unions must support the townships. The unions must give back to the townships. The unions must send a bus with all the Lions players going into the townships. The kids love that. I was enticed by that. I'm so 18 years later, 19 years later, I'm so So maybe the unions need to do that. They need to send the players into the townships. We must not see rugby players in the townships after a World Cup and if we've won the World Cup finals. That's for me there's no structures. And then we want to go back and say, oh, rugby in the township is doing good because we want money. That's not fair to the game.
Moving on to URC, I think let's move on to URC. I think of the South African teams, three of the four of them have now qualified for Europe next season, which means there's going to be more money. You know, that's potentially going to bring back players. Another issue for the Lions is that they didn't qualify for Europe, so there's going to be even less money. So there's the potential for them to fall behind. But let's talk big money boys.
Lions didn't even qualify for Curry Cup, so
that's another story, you know.
But let's talk the big boys with the big money, the Bulls. You know, this weekend for them, Moody moved to 15. This was a move because Arendt's they're thinking about him going to Sevens World Cup. They got it done in the end, but I mean it was mostly their pack. Nokia and Robla, they continue to push for those bulk places. Any thoughts on the game, Chris?
Look, again, what I've seen, it's been a trend with the overseas teams, with our local teams. First off, it always seems a bit tight. You know, it's always tit for tat. You know, our teams maybe fall behind a bit. And then with this time around, the Bulls, again, they proved their home. Loftus, like they say, you know, the altitude, it matters, you know, but you can't discount the work rate of the pack. You know, at the moment, if you're looking at it, you know, the Bulls, in terms of what they want to do, they are as clear as any other team on this is what we want to do. This is how we want to play. Even though sometimes the other team doesn't allow them to do that, they find a way to get back to playing like that. You see, the Storm is also trying to get to that point, you know, where they've always been able to steal games that they shouldn't have been winning, and that. Now we're seeing the results of that because they've got that confidence to be able to go back to their blueprint. So with the Bulls, it was really expected. I mean, there's really not much.
It's the halftime talk.
Halftime talk. Whatever Jake White does at all time.
Jake is an incredible man. He's a coach.
You know, so I mean, look, Kane Moody, that move for him to go from wing to 15, again, it just... You can take any one of those guys in that Bulls backline and you can move them around and they'll play, they'll deliver, you know, and really you just have to be impressed with the setup that the Bulls have. And Sandra touched on it, you know, in terms of how they've reached out to the broader club rugby community, because I mean you see it within the stadium as well. It's packed. You feel that energy in there, that it's almost that Loftus of when they were Super Rugby champions, you know what I mean? But this time around, this is a completely different Bulls setup. It's not your corpus stump rugby. The hard yards, they won't go away from that. They won't go away from their set piece, but they can play with ball in hand and they can counter-attack and Europe teams to shreds. You know, they're not talking this weekend, but the weekend before.
The previous weekend.
Yeah.
They've been doing it the whole time.
They've been doing it the whole time, but that other weekend, that trial that stood out, how the whole back three were chasing back and they were all together after one ball. You know, they took it up, they cut up. Can't remember where they played, you know, but nonetheless, you know, it's just showing that they've got a good system going there. So
Madosh is flying at the moment. You know, looking at him, I'm just thinking about Spu Nkosi, because Spu Nkosi is supposed to make his way up there to Pretoria. And you look at the way that Tambwe is flying right now, you just think they're adding Nkosi to this mix. He's gonna go, you know, it looks like,
and he will be fine.
It's going to be
back to what I said earlier. Sorry, these guys are getting game time. If these guys are not selected in the team, they play club, and when they play club, they play against guys who believe they're better than them.
Yeah,
and the quality of rugby in the game will be awesome. It's a step up.
Yeah.
Now, looking back at the Lions, we went and bought Nohamba, who's a third choice come off at the Sharks right now. What's going on? What's that kid that's 15? Lions 15?
Is it Skuman?
Q and Horn.
No, not
Q and Horn.
No, Swanepoel or something.
Swanepoel, yes. Yeah, Swanepoel, not Skuman.
Yeah, he's starting every game in the Currie Cup, but he's not the best.
No.
What's going on? What happened to all these kids that came from Monument High School, all these kids that came from Yelp Makar when they were top 5 2 years back? Where are all those kids? I see that one of the biggest achievement from the Lions, Chukucha, is doing great. He comes from a small school. The Lions invested in him. He's doing great. Every other game gets man of the match. He's awesome. So
he was big this weekend.
Where are all those structures?
He was big this weekend.
Why are the universities not playing in the Varsity Cup finals every year? We've got 2 universities who are competing in one of the toughest league in the country.
Yeah.
Why is Wits University and the UJ Rugby not playing
at least knockouts
in the semi-finals? And I'll tell you why. Because the Lions buy players. They take those players, they sit them there in the clubhouse and not play them the whole season. Why not send them to club? Why not send them to those universities so that the universities can be stronger? We keep these players there, seated and grounded. They don't play rugby.
But they used to. I don't know what happened because they used to do that.
They used to.
So I'm not sure what has happened there.
Well, I think they're bringing it up now with. I saw a few players from UJ playing in the under 20 squad. I saw some of them in the Wits University also playing in the Currie Cup. So there is something that's going on. Someone is trying to bring back that system. But that's your system. That's where you get 50 players. When I played, UJ had 5 under 21 teams. And all those under 21 teams could take on any club rugby first team. What happened? Where's that system?
Yeah.
Where's the Cossiers? When I went to Stellenbosch a few years back, the third league, Cossiers could beat any club here in Joburg. Third league. First league was all these big clubs. Where are the Cossiers games? Why are the universities in Gauteng not playing quality Cossiers rugby? Why is the Cossiers not endorsed by the unions where you see some type of TV or some type of publicity from the union? Where is all of that? Bring all of that, then the rugby at the Lions will be back to quality standards. And then the other thing is your coaches' development. Why are we losing all these top coaches? Bafana Ntleko, all these other names.
Spoken about him too many times.
Why? Why are we losing all these quality coaches? Because they're not given enough opportunities up there. We are giving ex-players an opportunity to coach.
So old boys club.
But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If you've got your Monument who's always playing in the top 5 of the schools in the country, then maybe that coach is doing something amazing. Look at that coach. That coach deserves an opportunity. He must get the opportunities to coach the under-21s or the universities or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
We must not go back and fetch people who played rugby in the 90s to come and coach. That's not fair.
Yeah, let's talk about the Lions this weekend. It was Odendal's last home game. That was about it. It wasn't really... I mean, Benetton, they did the same thing against the Bulls where they almost play like it's test rugby. And that's the way that they hang around in the game. I mean, at times, I think it was 22-8 at one stage. They built that lead before halftime. But essentially, the problem with this game was, as much as the Lions won, there's nothing to play for. There's no real... There wasn't a feeling of excitement or a feeling of, the win didn't... It felt a bit empty because there's nothing to play for. I mean, the only things I can really say in this game was Ruan Venter He had some big carries. 19-year-old. He looks like he's that
Small
lock slash
schools
flank.
product, eh? Small schools product. Ruan Fainter was at Sutherland.
Yeah, then he went to
Then
Boys
he
Eye,
moved
Paul
over
Boys Eye.
to Boys. Yeah, he's a small school product. And look at him.
So, I mean...
Look at Kucha, small schools product.
Big
as well.
Big for the Union.
Exactly.
Lions, not much else to say. I don't know is there anything you want to say about that game?
Look, nothing much else. Look, good fight back at the end, but again, it's been the trend, right? That I mentioned. You know, those overseas teams first off, you know, looking good. You know, they playing the percentages. Our guy and they're taking their opportunities. Our guys are sort of a bit slow off the mark. They find their way back into it at the end of the half. Second half is a different story. They get the win, and Lions, they got the win. They deserved it, yes. You know, although at certain times they could have let it go.
It can change.
Yeah, but they definitely can still get better. You know, one more game, and yeah, let's see. I think the less said, the better about them at the moment.
I think they need to somehow centralize the rugby like the All Blacks do. Every team plays the same structure.
Yeah.
However they win.
Lions, yeah.
However they win their games.
Yeah, because Curry Cup looks different to URC.
Exactly. So let's get the same structure.
The Curry Cup coach, he's had no continuity. There's guys coming in and out. First it was a bubble.
You can't work with anything because he takes whatever comes his way. That's like coaching a second team. It is actually.
It is. Right? You're actually right. That's the second team. It is.
Which is,
but yeah,
for him, I think for him and his reputation, the Curry Cup boys are young.
Yes. They've come through his hands.
Yeah, right? They're very young. So maybe for him and the boys, there's something going on. However, for his reputation,
it hasn't been good. Sharks Connacht. Will be back next week. He's reportedly returning. For this one, I mean, they looked sharp. Sharks, they did look sharp throughout the game. Bosch still missing kicks. Jaden Hendricks, he looked sharp until the charge down. For me, where this thing changed was the X factor of Grant Williams coming on. He seemed like he sparked the team, and then Fassi also came alive. But for me, this was a second half performance. You know, that's when they sort of came alive.
For me, Coders, I'm sorry. That Sharks pack looked at that backline and said, "You guys are not getting the ball.
Yeah,
because you guys are messing up, and we're gonna roll up our sleeves." Yeah. Because if you look at that win for the Sharks, the forwards just put their heads down and they just grounded out.
They grounded everything.
They grounded out. Yes, Grant Williams is the X factor. Okay, I can agree. Jaden Hendrickson is a good player, quality player. But for my problem with him is, and if you saw it again in this game, he keeps on getting caught with the volleys at the base. You know, if he can just understand his variation of when to go quick and when.
Primary duties are that you get to the ruck, you pass the ball.
Get the ball out.
That's what he needs to do. You He's a quality player.
He's good.
He's a quality player.
His style, it's that slow poison. It's like Ruan Pina.
Yeah.
He is like Ruan Pina.
Grant Williams is hungrier.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's more sharp. And I mean, he played, came on at wing. We've seen a lot of scrum halves play wing before. I think in high school, he also played wing a bit. So, I mean, that...
he did.
It's something to think about, you know. Tapuai going off with injured. I think it's a blessing in disguise that they found a new dynamic in the team.
Yeah, you know, and look, credit to them. Fassi again, you know, showing, you know, you can turn it on the weekend special. So look, as long as that pack keeps on grinding, you know, and the backline they need to fix. I don't know what's going on there in that backline, man. I don't know.
Back to the point about sending Kevin Bosch to club rugby, get his confidence, and when he has it, then they move him back up.
They're sending him to England. He's not going to club rugby. Yeah, he's going to England. They're getting the papers done. Yeah, don't worry about that one. Cohen Bosch is on the move soon. The agent is already looking for a place to stay. But let's talk Stormers now. Stormers against Leinster B. Leinster left their real team. They left their real team at home. Paul de Vet started here. Reportedly, Blommetjies is replacing Galant when Galant leaves. That's another story for another day. Again, I think Blommetjies, his powers are in Bloemfontein. When he leaves Bloemfontein, he loses his superpowers. So for me again, Stormers were intense. Stormers were intense here, but it's like the intensity just giving away too many penalties. Even though they were pressing, I don't know how many disallowed tries, how many held up tries, how many. It's just like they couldn't. I mean, it was close. It was a lot closer than it should have been.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They'll be angry at themselves, man, because they could have easily put that game away, you know. And had they taken all it is that they weren't clinical enough, you know. At the end of the day, when it comes down to you look at, like you mentioned, the disallowed tries, they just weren't clinical enough. I don't know what it is, whether they felt too much pressure, you know, in the fact that they wanted to secure a home playoff spot. We don't know. We won't know because we're not in that change room. But all around, you know, even through that sort of adversity, they were able to come through and get the result. You know, I think the question for these guys is going to be whether or not they'll be able to translate that away from home now, especially going into the knockouts. You know, because round robin's almost done. Basically, all positions. Okay, we know that our teams are in the knockout, the three of our guys. So now it's just about, you know, can you win away from home? Stormers have shown that they can, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, it was good to see. It was good to see them keeping the ball alive. That was the clear memo, that keep the ball alive. Yeah. So it's good to see. Only other things, Rassi saying that's how you react to Evan Ruiz being left out of Bokke alignment caps. For me, he shouldn't have to react in the first place. He should have been in that camp in the first place. So that one is I don't know. Another one, Sinatla is reportedly in the camp. That one, I'm not too sure about. I don't know if Madosh is there, but Madosh should be there.
No. Yeah, you know about Madosh. He's got
it's a passport issue, I think. Probably the documentation.
Because
he's also.
But we can fix that. We can fix that with some brown envelopes. We can fix that.
Brown envelopes. You know, we will be the guys. We'll make it happen. You know, Rassi, if you need a courier, I'm your man. You know, but. Yeah, look, if Sinatla is in there, for me, look, I'm sorry. If Sinatla is in there, then Zas has got to be in there. If you know what I mean, because Zas has been doing more than Sinatla.
It's simple, gents. Some of the players need to stick with sevens.
Yes.
Sinatla would have been the greatest of all times if he had stayed with the sevens.
Yeah.
However, they all want to leave sevens because they don't pay them enough. So I think our sevens setup is so phenomenal that we could have registered two teams.
Yeah.
And both of them would have played in the semis or the finals.
Yeah.
So some of the players, Sinatla is a sevens player. He must stay there. Yes, he's scoring tries right now, but when we play against the likes of Wales, Australia, and the All Blacks, then Sinatla will not.
I mean, personally, the Lions wingers, I also feel like they're better. Like you said, Zaz.
Get Edwin van der Merwe in there. I'm sorry. Like, nothing against Sinatla. He's a good player, you know, good, but he's better at sevens, like Sansa said. You know,
he's a nice guy as well. Classic man. Very nice guy, but they're killing him.
He's killing himself as well, you know.
Yeah, so even this one.
Performs and they think he's better, then there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, he doesn't pick himself.
Yeah, he doesn't pick himself. It doesn't.
It's out of his hands. It's out of his hands.
Exactly.
But so we'll see. We'll see as time draws closer. We'll get some more leaked names coming out of those Bok camps. But some Curry Cup this weekend to look forward to, and that's about it. I'm a Curry Cup man. I love it's our brand. Man. It's our brand. I love the Curry Cup. So
it's our bread and butter. You can't leave the bread and butter and go for pizza.
It's dead.
You know,
we need to revive it.
No, it's coming alive. Look, I think for us, the interesting points about the Curry Cup is especially I know as much as I'm a Sharks supporter now, but I'm invested in the Pumas and the Griquas doing well.
Yeah,
because I want them to upset the sort of the like you say, it's not the same Currie Cup as it used to be, and you say it's dead. But I believe that if we have the Pumas or Griquas getting to the knockouts and actually one of those teams winning the Currie Cup, it's going to force a rethink all around, because other bigger unions, it's going to be almost unheard of, you know. So,
and the reason I also watch it, is because the players that get picked up by the Pumas and the Griquas are guys that bigger unions, for whatever reason, they've left bigger unions, or bigger unions have passed on them. So it's nice to see those guys play for the Pumas and Griquas.
They come back.
But then they play against the bigger unions and then they beat them. So that's what I like to see. I like to see the redemption, you know, and to show this guy, you think this guy is better than me, you know, you passed, you didn't give me the contract, you gave this guy the contract, so I'm gonna come and beat him and show you. So that's what I like about the Currie Cup. Any closing remarks, Chris? Any closing remarks, Sandile?
From my side, look, just thanks, Santa, for making the time. You know, we know you're a busy man, so thank you. Currie Cup, let's go, let's get it. Our URC teams, you know, it's the final stretch now. Now is the time to show who's the big boys, you know. So yeah, let's do it, guys. Let's go.
My final words, obviously, I think 3 teams in the same years in the playoffs. We need to now show the Rugby Onslaught page on Facebook that we are the World Cup champions, and we'll stick it out. So we must stick it out.
Yeah.
The boys must stick it out. The Bulls, Sharks, and VIP.
Yeah. Let's go, boys.
Yeah. Let's go. Dummy Switch Pod. Thanks for watching.